There we go. Here we are again. Oh, we changed the backdrop on my screen. Just changed. Good morning, everybody. Jim, Eric, Todd. Let me just get a few other things to set up on the screen. Hold on. Where's the rest of the crew? Here we go. And there we go. And now get me off the screen. There we go. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Here we are. We've got a special guest today, Chris. He's just managed to get himself back in the country. We've got Oggy, still wishing he could get out of the other country. Todd has got his passport in the other country, ready to be stamped. And here I am on the beach again. There we go.
Such is life, Wazza. Such is life.
Good morning, good morning. Now, of course, just a quick announcement. There's a feature I didn't realise was actually available to the YouTube streamers now. So I've actually turned it on for these live streams now, which is subscribers only mode, which means only subscribers to the channel can actually sort of make comment. If you're not a subscriber, you'll have to go through that process. I think it takes a minute before you can type. It really is just to avert that stupid bot that comes on every freaking stream that we get. You know, wanted it to, what they call sex, some sort of sex line, something or other, or whatever. I don't know. I can never remember what it says. You know, they always pop 5 messages. You know, there's no links, but it just gets annoying, and everybody's trying to sort of get there and try to turn the damn thing off. But yeah, so hopefully the subscriber mode only means the fact that that bot is a bot and it shouldn't go through any sort of process to want to then try to subscribe. So a little bit of inconvenience for the people who just drop by. But hey, we're going to do things to try to improve the quality of the stream. I know I don't do much to improve the quality of the stream. I talk too much. So that's why we've got Chris here today. So we're going to talk about, like, people have been asking for the last few months, probably for at least the last 4 or 5 streams I've had, they keep on throwing in questions about the Thailand Elite Visa. So in that sort of thing, I'm going to sort of bring up the first page and put that on screen for the other guys so they can see what I'm on back screen. This one, go live. Yeah, so the Thailand Elite Visa, the Thailand Elite will reopen on the 16th of October. I think that's today now, isn't it? It's the 16th?
Yes,
yeah. It is. Okay, so they were allowed to work from office, so there's this announcement on their webpage. New update according to the Thai government's policy on the situation of the CV, Thailand Privileged Card Company. That's a little thing we want to talk about, you know, Thailand Elite Visa and the actual company name. Head office will allow its staff to work from home during October 1st to 15th, 2021. For our members, Member Contact Centre, members who need to do 90-day reporting, please drop off your passport at our office on Monday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. To collect on Friday afternoon at 13 to 1600. It's important, I'm sure, that you must drop your passport on Monday before blah blah blah. Okay, yeah. Little caveats there. Please kindly be reminded to make booking for 5 working days in advance for Elite Personal Liaison Service. Hopefully Chris will be able to fill us in what that means, which will be available only at the Immigration Bureau Tuesday and Friday. Please ensure to make 24-hour advance bookings prior to your arrival and pick up or meet up. Okay, member contact centre and telephone numbers, contact us, websites and sales groups, blah, blah, blah. With the thing, sorry for inconvenience. And Thailand Elite Visa will reopen, so it looks like from today onwards they're back and resuming normal business. That was a little bit of, you know, the technical information, but what does that all mean, Chris? What does that all mean?
Hopefully, it means we're going to go back to the way it was, and really, you know, Thai Elite for me was it was just the perfect visa for me to get. You know, when I moved to Thailand, I was 46 years old, so it was about 3 years ago. And when I wanted to move there, you know, I didn't qualify for a retirement visa because I'm not 50 years old. I didn't want to do a business visa because I was actually coming out to retire here. And so I'm like, well, I'm not going to do that. I had no interest in doing like an education visa or anything like that. And the whole thought of like, I can try to do back to back to tourist visas, but I'm like, that just sounds so risky. Like how many times am I gonna get away with, 90 days go across the border and hopefully they don't catch me and just say, hey, we get what you're doing. So I wanted a visa that was just going to give me security and knowing and the freedom and the peace of mind that I could live in Thailand for multiple years and not deal with any of the craziness. And I did some research, and Thai Elite just seemed like it was the best option for me. At the time, I think there's the same options. There's a 5-year, 10-year, and a 20-year.
Mm-hmm.
And I opted just to do the 5-year from the standpoint that, like, I don't know what I'm going to have for lunch tomorrow. So, I mean, 5 years seems like a really, really long time. And at the time, I'm grandfathered in. It was 500,000 baht for 5 years. So breaking down the math, I'm like, that comes out to like $320 a month. My internet and cable bill back home is $280 a month. I'm like, it seemed like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And I gotta tell you, the process of becoming Thai Elite was easier than for me to try to come back to Thailand now with everything that's happening with COVID and ASQ. To do the ASQ COVID, it took me 2 weeks. It was just unbelievable, the documents that I had to do. And to become Thai Elite, the form you fill out is a joke. It's a page and a half long. It took me 10 minutes.
Right.
And I got approved in like 6 days. They're like, congratulations, you're in now. Now give us 500,000 baht.
Yeah. Yeah, so just to recap, so as we sort of said, we're going to talk about the Elite Visa today. Chris is an Elite Visa card holder. So as I said, rather than sort of make up all these other people talking about it and they've never really experienced, I thought, well, my mate Chris here, he's a gamer and he's an Elite Visa card holder. So what better person to talk about everything? He's one of the crew. We're going to get the guy on a motorcycle at some stage, but he's telling me he's never ridden a bike. Oh my God, I can't believe this shit. What are we going to do about that? Anyway, so if you're just joining in, don't forget you need to be a subscriber on the channel to actually make comments. But today, let's just ask Chris what are your questions about the Elite card, Elite Visa, and try to demystify it. I've got a few little splash screens here that I've prepared already, which is to do with. Let me just bring that down. We've got the different types of visas. This is Elite Easy. I'm going to see if I can zoom that in. So there's the Easy Access membership. I'm going to have to sort of share that screen to the guys so that they can sort of look at it as well. Just so it's So this is the 600,000 baht version. There's the next one here, which is the Elite Ultimate Privilege membership. There is the Elite Superior Extension membership, and there's another one which they call the Elite Premium, Elite Family Premium membership. So hopefully Chris will be able to go through and give us the rundown on all those as we speak today. So so shoot your questions this way. And g'day Stewie, g'day Dallo, g'day Andy, Kim, who else have we missed? Go. So Paul.
Wazza, Kim, that's my brother.
Oh, okay, Kim.
So he's finally joined the crew.
G'day Kim, good to have you on board. I think the first thing that I wanted to just sort of say about the Elite Visa, if you're over 50, and you can afford to put 32,000 Australian dollars, or I think it's whatever. I know. Look, the math is 800,000 baht. Okay, if you can put that in if you've got that in a bank account and it's been in there for 3 months, or you can show money going into your bank account, I still believe that the retirement visa is ultimately the simplest way to go, and it's the least cost option for anybody considering coming to live in Thailand. But as I said, the downside is you have to be over 50, and as we just determined, Chris is not over 50. He's just a young boy. Anyway,
And
so
I'm 49 now.
49 now. So, well, that would be the first question I would ask. Would you consider changing when that? I think you've got two more years on your elite visa. Would you consider changing to the retirement visa in 2 years' time, just because of the fact that like it'll save you 100,000 baht a year? Well, save you 80,000 baht a year, because the fact you'll have to get your yeah.
I think before the whole COVID craze, I probably would have said yes. But now, I'm going to say no, and here's why. The Thai Elite visa they're kind of hurting. They don't have a lot of members. I think the last time I asked, they have total like 9,000 members for the entire country, which is I think a really, really low number. And then when COVID hit, they were really hurting, and they reached out to all members and said, "Hey, you're grandfathered in," and because of COVID, originally last year, they're like, they didn't know how long it was going to last. They gave me an extra 6 months for free. So my visa now is actually, it was supposed to end July of 2023, and they extended it until January of 2024. So I got an extra 6 months for free. And then about 4 months ago, they sent me another email saying, "Hey, we want to offer you the 20-year visa, grandfather you in already for where you are now, but you only need to pay another 500,000 baht, and then we'll just subtract where you're at now. So right now I'm basically almost 3 years in. We'll give you an extra 17 years for 500,000 baht." And I'm just like, to me, that's a no-brainer from the standpoint that with Thai
Really?
League, they don't bother me. They don't bother me. They never asked if I have health insurance. Now, granted, I do have health insurance, but they don't ask for it. They don't require it. They don't care what I have in the bank. My second day here, they opened up a bank account for me. Like, they had people there assisting me through every step of the process, which was great. So, I mean, day to day, nobody bothers me, and they're pretty much, a butler service for me. Anytime I have a question, I can call. There's a 24-hour number. They speak English really good. Their email system is really good, and they're there just to really just help and assist. So I think I'm gonna pull the trigger and just pay another. Depending on what happens with Thailand, with everything that's happening in the world, I think I'm just gonna pay another 500,000, and then I'm not gonna have to worry about anything for 17, 16 more years. I was shocked. I thought, I'm like, is this a weird promotion? Is it going away? They're like, we have no plans of getting this going away. Your grandfathered in, so you get another 17 years for the same amount I paid for 5.
Okay, so Don B, Chris, I understand now if on 5-year elite you can upgrade to 20-year option and only pay the balance of what you would have cost when you received it. Well, this is what you're talking about, but yeah, I haven't seen anything in there, the family membership. There's nothing mentioned there. The family membership is the 1 million baht, option, which gives you, I don't know, but the 1 million baht gives you how long? Subject to value.
I think 1 million gives you, I think it's 10 year.
Well, this is the family membership, but doesn't actually give you a time. Renewal 5-year multiple entry visa privileges. Doesn't actually say how long it lasts for. Then the superior, that's a 20-year, which is the 1 million baht. The 20 million, the 2 million baht version is the one with all the extras. Yeah, so this is only 4 that I found on their website. There may be some other ones, and again, it all depends on how well they update their website with the current information.
Email they sent me. If you want, Warren, I can. So the email was a little confusing. It's not worded the best. I had to read it twice. I'm like, why did I get an extra, 17? And then I, just emailed them back a little bit, and they're like, yeah, this is it. So And I saved all my documents
Mm.
for the whole entire process. I just opened the folder again this morning. I'm like, oh, because I haven't looked at it for 3 years, and it's so funny. There's like 6 documents. It was just unbelievably easy process. I
Yeah.
filled out a form, and literally 5 days later, they're like, congratulations, you're approved. Now give us 500,000 bucks.
Mm.
Like what? I actually, when I try to do stuff, I try to do a lot of research and plan ahead. I actually signed up for Thai Elite a year before I was coming out because I didn't know how
Mm.
long it was going to take. I didn't know how long the approval process, and then once you get approved and paperwork and everything like that. So I actually got approved a year before I came out. I'm like, oh wait, I'm not coming out for another year. I didn't think it was going to be this fast. They're like,
Mm.
well, it's approved for 3 months, and then we'll kick you out of the system, and then just apply again, and we'll approve you again.
Yeah, okay.
And they've been great. I mean, the only thing that I was ever concerned about was like their website is okay. I think it's a little basic. I think it could be a little bit easier to understand and follow along. The only thing I was really ever worried about was like transferring, a little over 15,000 USD from my bank to this magical account they gave me. Just,
Mm.
is it going to work? Is it a scam? You have that always in the back of your mind. It's not often that I wire transfer $15,000. So that was really the only time I felt like this might be sketch. This might be a little
Mm.
crazy. But yeah, other than that, it's been awesome. And before COVID, it was great from the standpoint like when anytime I traveled outside of Thailand, you get treated like a rock star. You tell them your flights and your dates. They pick you up in a 7 Series Beamer limousine service. The second you arrive at the airport, outside there's like 2 or 3 girls dressed all in gold. There's a dude there to take your luggage, and they entourage escort you
Right.
all the way through the airport. And I don't
Yeah.
do anything. Like they hold my passport, my tickets. They fill out everything, and it's kind of cool, but also kind of embarrassing. Like I can't tell you how much times like people like who is that guy? And I'm like, I'm a nobody. you know,
Mm.
it's like it's really weird. Then you have the Thai Elite Lounge you can hang out there. There's really good food. And you can drink whatever you want, stuff like that. So that aspect of it was even great because I think before COVID, I traveled like 9 times. I went to Hong Kong 4 times, Japan twice, Vietnam. Went to Europe. So if you like to just travel internationally, Thai Elite was great from the standpoint that like I got you know free travel to the airport and back. Didn't have to wait in any lines, fast all the way through immigration. Didn't even fill out my any of the forms.
Mm.
It was great. It's great. They did change it though because of COVID. Now they even do it domestically. So if I'm just traveling within Thailand, they'll also do it as well, just as a convenience since you know you couldn't travel international for a while. So they changed that as well, which has been really nice.
Yeah. Well, as I think we'd mentioned it when we were going to when we were allowed to go to pubs a little while back when we were here, when before you left. I did make inquiries into the elite visa, because one of the things when you were living in the Bangkok province, dealing with Changwatana, and I've had three renewal processes I had to go through there with my current visa, and it was all to do with the bank account bullshit that I've had to deal with. First Citibank was accepted, then like I think 2 years ago, then Citibank was no longer accepted as a Thai bank. Right? They don't tell you.
Right.
You just rock up there to do your renewal and decide we can't accept this. It's not a Thai bank. Well, it would have been nice if you
Yeah.
told me that last year. That's the only bank I've got. How do we deal with this? And there's just nobody there that can it had to go through, one person. She doesn't have the authority to make any decision. She had to ask her supervisor, who also doesn't have the authority to make a decision, who then went to her supervisor until it actually went up to, I think, the said 2IC because it is a police force, had to get a 2IC, and he had to get involved to sort of say, let it through. Oh
Yeah.
my God, like nobody wants to take responsibility and it's totally out of my control, but that's just my personal things. At that point, I said, I got to find a better solution to this because I'm sick to death of this bullshit. I rang the elite. No, I didn't ring. I emailed the Elite Visa organisation and said, gave them a bit of a story. I live in Thailand, but I'm considering changing my current retirement visa to the Elite Visa. What is the process? And basically, it was almost like a form letter came back. I need to go into Chiang Watana and have my visa cancelled. Then I would need to go to their office, right, and make an application. And I've sort of said,
seems wrong. I
said, hold on a second. You mean then I'm in the country without a visa, going from Chiang Watana to Ceylon. There's something wrong with that. Can I come in and see you? Oh no, you can't come in and see us first. Well, I thought you were an elite service. Can I at least see somebody? Can I talk to somebody? I just gave up. But yeah, and of course that was where I left it. I just felt this seems a bit dodgy, having to do your own cancellation of a visa, be in the country without a visa, and then hopefully they will approve you once you pay them some money. Which means, well, the money would have been there. I'll just swipe, ring up Cassicon Bank and just say, "Blung, here you go. Here's the money." Not a problem. That's I've got 800,000 baht in my bank account. There we go. That should cover me. But yeah, no, it's just this whole process just seems so bizarre. And again, there was no element of what I would call service in that whole process. Then you're looking. I know you're struggling because I can't remember when they did this process. It was before COVID started, but it just seemed there was already writing on the wall because I still don't know whether this is true or not. Which was the elite company, what we sort of said, that Thailand Privilege Card Company, right? We might have an address here in Thailand, but I think some experts have done some research and found that the actual parent company is actually Singapore based. I don't know if that's true or not, and I don't really have the resources to go and find out. That's as far as I know. So they're not part of immigration at all. From what I understand now, is the visa, as you sort of said, is simple because you're a tourist, right? It's a tourist visa. They don't check anything. And of course it's a VIP, so they don't check to see if you've got 20,000 baht in your wallet when you walk in the country. So that makes sense, and you can do that as many times as possible, there's no questions asked. But as I said, you're just treated like a tourist for well, in your case now it's going to be 20 years instead of 5 years. So perfect. What do you do about that? I don't know. But anyway.
It's really bizarre. I mean, I still have to do 90-day reporting, and I can do it online and someone can pick it up, but I actually like to go to their office just to hand it in and stuff like that. And the girls there, I think, are really, really great. I can ask the next time I do reporting, get more information.
Oh, well, listen, now that we've moved, it's all right, they're starting work in the kitchen downstairs. I'm going to be going to push the talk on. No, that won't help because the fact that I can't push the talk to Streamlabs. Yeah.
We're just going to have to put up with it, wasn't it? It's difficult time. You've got work going and you've got work going.
Hopefully it's not too loud, and they won't be doing it all day. Yeah, there we go. That was it. They've got to cut a hole in the wall with like one of those, whatever it is. But that sounds like a hammer drill actually at the moment going through the concrete. Yeah. But anyway, hopefully it's not too loud. I don't hardly hear it with my headphones on. Great stream with the jackhammer. Yes, Johnny. So I am. Yes. But yeah, so if you're just joining, I know there's a few people who have just bumped in. If you do want to ask Chris some questions about the visa and the visa process, you do have to be a subscriber now because we've been inundated with those bots that come in randomly to tell you about the sex chat line, whatever it is, I never know. I can't remember what it says, but it's it's a bot that runs. They must run around every stream, and I can post my bullshit here, so I'll post it here. Now they have to actually go through a subscription process. There we go.
Download asked a question before for you, Chris. How long can you be out of Thailand on a length visa, and does it matter that length of time you need to be out?
Sorry, I'm trying to understand, trying to hear. It's a little loud.
Yeah.
Can I repeat the question, please?
How long can you be out of Thailand on an elite visa?
Oh, as long as I want. I went back home. I left Thailand July 26th. I went back to Chicago to get vaccinated. I wanted to update my driver's license, spend time with my mom, see some friends. I was gone for 2.5 months. And Thailand was just like, okay, be safe. We'll keep you posted on anything that changes and stuff like that. And I can come and go as I please. My favorite thing to do is like when I go to an airport, when you go into certain countries, they always ask, when are you coming back? And I'm Thai elite, so I'm like, I live in Thailand. They're like, no. When are you coming back? They treat me like a tourist. I go, I'll be back in the year 2024. And they're like, look at me. And I'm like, oh, I have a special visa. And I just, they flip it to on my passport. They're like, oh, okay. So I don't have to deal with any of that crap, but I can come and go as I please. They don't monitor me at all. Now, again, like I said, I do have to do the 90-day reporting, but it's so simple. I mean, I don't even have to really leave my condo to do it. But I actually like to, go to their office and just hand it to them with the was it that stupid form, that TM30? Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And that's an easy form. It's just because I don't even fill it out. It's just your condo has to take care of that for you. And then I hand them my passport. I come back 4 days later, pick it up, and then I'm done. Last year was even great too because for my first year here, I didn't even do 90-day reporting because I was always going out of the country. And every time you go to the country, the 90-day resets. But then when COVID hit, I wasn't going anywhere. And once a year, you have to have that yearly stamp for actually leaving the country. But I'm like, I can't leave the country because of COVID. They're like, well, okay, you need to go to the other immigration office and they'll restamp it for you and fill out paperwork. And I'm just like, I got to do what? Like, we'll send somebody with you. So again, I just showed up like a minion and a Thai elite person, filled out all the paperwork. They, got me through all the lines. It took me longer to just to get to that office than to actually get the 1-year stamp and get out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's great. It really is a clean, peace of mind, VIP treatment, which I really like.
Well, it does sound like it, that's for certain. And I'd like that a way to
Hopefully
do the muting thing. I can
they're
mute
opening
things
up
out.
November. We can start traveling international again, so I can just really take advantage of that standpoint of it as well. But yeah, they're great. Whenever I have a question, they respond to my emails sometimes within like 10, 15 minutes. It's great.
So which version are you on, Chris?
I'm on the 5-year visa.
Yep.
And again, they did give me an extra 6 months free because of COVID. So I actually got 5.5 years. And it expires end of January of 2024.
Right.
And then for me to do the grandfather and get an extra 17 years, they said I have to do it. Yeah, I have to do it. I have to agree to it and give them money 1 year before my current visa ends. So I have 1 more year to like really think about it and scrape the money together, everything like that.
Well, considering it's like 17 years for that small amount of money, I suppose if you're able to get on that elite visa, it sort of seems a no-brainer, really.
Yeah, again, the first so far it's been just great. I really didn't know what to expect. Like, are they really going to just let me do whatever I want to do? Are they going to be asking me questions? And get nothing. They've never asked me any of my bank details, how much money I have in my bank account. They don't never even asked if I had health insurance. Never even asked the question, even when I was filling out the application process when I was still living in the U.S. That question never came up whatsoever, and I found that great. That I didn't have to deal with that from that standpoint at all. Made it really
Yeah.
nice. The only thing they really wanted me to do is they always wanted me to have a Thai phone number, just to get in touch with me. But I'm like, I guess I can get one, and I had to actually get one to open up a bank account here. They
Yeah.
register you with Bangkok Bank. So I did that just to make sure I can get the app on my phone to work, so I can easily pay bills and transfer money and all that fun stuff. But that's it. It's been great.
Yeah.
Well, it does seem like it's. I've worked out how to do the audio thing here, so I've got to push the talk on. Plus, I've got to do the slider. While we'll work something out. It's a bit of an inconvenience for me, but I'll be okay. Yeah. So look, I may still consider the whole elite visa, but 600,000 baht. I've got to weigh up the it's not like I have billions of dollars in the bank. I've got to look at the fact that I've got so many years in Thailand. I don't have an income, right? Everything's basically pinned on my investments and everything else, and how much money I will end up with. And I've never really sort of said, well, in my case there, I look at the 120,000 baht per year, which you pay up front, which is okay. On top of that, well, in comparison to my health insurance is 12,000 baht a year, and the 1,900 baht per year is the renewal fee. And do you still have to pay the 1,900 baht renewal on your visa?
No.
That's all taken
I've never
care
been
of.
asked for. Yeah, I've never been asked for another penny.
Okay. Well,
Except for when I had to do the 1 year stamp. I think I had to pay. I think it was like 1,200 baht or something like that.
And so the
So it was
exit visa, so when you're bouncing in and out, do you have to pay anything?
oh, nothing.
Nothing, so it's all
No,
taken care
nothing,
of.
nothing at all. Yeah,
Okay.
it's all taken care of. And another thing to consider. So if I don't know where if someone's living in the U.S. or whoever might be interested, what I was able to do when I actually, paid for it all, I wrote it off as a business expense. I was actually doing still some consulting in the U.S. So on my taxes, I actually wrote off a big portion of the 500,000 baht on my taxes. So it was actually a little less. I'm not sure how much of a break I got. I think I got like a few $1,000s, but it was just something else to consider. So, I mean, I don't know what country, you're from. If you're from the US, you can absolutely write that off on your taxes as a business expense. There's two ways to
That's
do it too.
interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can write it off two different ways. You can do it all at once, or you can do it over the 5 years. I wanted the, more bang for my buck. So I wrote off the entire 5 years on my 2018 taxes. And yeah. I didn't, the IRS didn't come after me. I didn't go, and my account. I did it through an accountant. My accountant said, yeah, absolutely. I can
I
do it.
know. I know my mate Psycho has been considering going to the elite visa, but he's just managed to swing himself a education visa, but that's a yearly thing as well. So he's still tossing up whether to actually go for the elite visa, but we'll have to see when things get closer to the mark on that one.
Yeah, and for me, like with the education, I'm like, I just didn't really want to do any of the. I'm like, I don't want to learn anything. I'm, not, I'm, I'm an old dog. I don't want to learn any new tricks. I really don't. And maybe I should have like actually done it to like learn Thai and stuff like that. But I'm just like, I just want to be here. I just want to do what I want to do. I don't want to have to like, on this day I have to take a class and I have to do this. And I'm like, that's just not for me. I just like, I want to be able to like wake up when I want to wake up, play games all day and not have to worry about any bullshit. Um,
Yeah.
so that's how I like, all right, education visa, that's out. Um, from there. So
Yeah, so Chris, Dom B sort of said, seems the elite visa attracts under 50s financially stable people. For me, too young to retire Is there any hint that it's okay to work remotely, i.e., real? That's a good question as well. Like I would sort of be like to know how that one sort of pans out, because I know they're trying to bring in a digital nomad a visa, and this has been the talk around the town for the last 12 months, given the current situation. So I suppose there's no real highlight in your case. There's nobody's querying that you got a YouTube. I know you don't have a YouTube channel, but get the idea.
Nobody, yeah, like I said, they stay out of my business. I don't have to pay, I mean, pay taxes when I buy things here and stuff like that. But as far as like, do I have to do any type of tax reporting of any type of income I have? I don't have to do any of that. So, I have real estate properties back home, and that's really where I get the majority of my money each month. But I mean, I do all my filing through the U.S. because all my properties are in the U.S. And all my expenses really go through all the U.S. as well. My first year, I did do some light consulting. My industry is I used to work in the toy industry. So it makes it easy for me to do that stuff because all the manufacturing's in China and all that stuff. Again, nobody, they never asked for anything in regards to that. So yeah, I mean, if you're financially set, um, under 50, I think it's the easiest and best way to go.
No questions. No, came through.
I think people are a
I
little
find it
bit
strange though.
dumbfounded about the ease that you're talking about. It does
Yeah.
sort of sound interesting, anyway. Yeah.
No. Well,
Yeah,
I
I wish I had some drama. I don't have any drama with them whatsoever. Like I said, like calling them has been great. Even when I was calling them in the States, I was calling them, 12-hour difference, and there was somebody there 24/7. Their English was really good. I didn't get any weird surprises like, oh, you forgot this form. The one weird surprise is there was one thing, like my second day here, they're like, okay, we're going to open up the bank account for you. We're going to have someone there to fill out all the paperwork. You just have to sit there and sign your name. They're like, oh, you need a Thai phone number. And it was like 4 hours before. I'm like, what? I don't have a Thai phone. They're like, just go to 7-Eleven and just get a SIM card and, blah, blah, blah. That was it. That was the only like, where I had a freak out moment. Like, you didn't tell me this. They're like, it's really easy. But like in this, it's different in the States. You just, you don't go to a 7-Eleven and get a SIM card that easily, as it is simple here. But that's it. They really take care of you really well.
yeah. Billy's asking for a 50-year-old, is retirement visa cheaper than the elite visa? And what is the most cost-effective visa for long-term stay for a 50-year-old? Billy, I'm 51, and I originally signed up to Chiang Mai University, a little bit different to Chris, to actually study Thai as a cultural immersion course, which the Chiang Mai University was at that stage running. My I suppose my lean is towards learning languages and understanding cultures. So I'm coming in on what's known as an OA visa, which is a above 50 retirement visa, and that is where you put an investment. It's 800,000 baht, isn't it? Was it from memory? I'm losing touch. Yeah, as what they call a deposit, saying that you are financially able to look after yourself. What Chris is talking about is an elite visa where you put, depending on what level of visa you're going for, you pay for the enjoyment of having an elite status and all this around you, where you can live a what they call a high so life. Would you call it a high so life, Chris, where everything's taken care of, but you do have to pay for it, and there are different levels. And I think towards the end of the chat today, Wazza will put a link in the chat line, and where you can find out some more information, because there is a dedicated website to find out more about the Thai Elite visa. But it all depends on your financial situation and what age you are. And I think the elite visa is targeting those that are under 50 that cannot get access to those retirement visas that are available, because the OA visa gives you a 12-month stay in Thailand, and there is a OX visa which will give you initial 5-year stay, and then you can extend that twice from my research, which will ultimately give you a 15-year stay in Thailand if they don't sort of change the rules on that, which I don't think so, because that OX visa has been around for quite some time now, from what my research has told me. So,
Well, the OX wasn't available when I came. It was only being talked about there, and what I know about the OX. When you hear the OX visa is for 5 years, on that 5th year you can bounce out and bounce in, but they will only stamp your book for 1 year. That's what I've been told, because they don't have a
okay.
stamp. They don't have a stamp for a 5 year. That's something that's only issued out of country. It doesn't get issued in country. You can't get an OX visa here in Thailand. It's only issued from embassies outside. But I could be wrong on that one as well. So, things change so dynamically in the state of affairs. It's just hard to keep track of.
On the OA and the OX, the information I found is that you can extend twice on the OX, but it's got to be done through the original embassy. But the information I found said you can do it from in country, but you have to communicate with your original embassy. Whether that's changed or not, but like you said, things change daily in Thailand. So at the moment, I'm sort of still waiting for my COE to enter the country when I get there in December. And what I'm looking at now with what's happening with the COE and what they're calling it now is it the Thailand Pass. I'm not even sure what's happening now with the COE. So I'm keeping a daily watch on Thai immigration as to whether Australia's going to need a COE or whether Australia's going to be the Thailand Pass. And this is something I've already been approved for. So
I'm sure they'll be the last to know.
So when you're talking about doing a retirement visa or you're doing an elite visa, as Chris is saying, he's never had any issues, but things can change. It's just a matter of what your personal circumstances are and what you want to achieve when you do get to Thailand.
Yeah. I think maybe probably the biggest thing that scare people or put people off is you got to put up all the money up front. And that's a big thing that can turn off a lot of people. And it was nervous for me just from the standpoint, like, I've only been talking to the customer service of Thai Elite for a week and a half. Their website doesn't seem super, super professional. And I'm like, I'm going to wire transfer $15,000 after you guys approved me 3 days ago. And everything just seemed too easy. And I'm just like, all right, I'll transfer the money and see what happens. And it's all legit worked out. That's really the biggest thing I think that is the turnoff. It's like it's all the money up front.
Yeah.
I can see it's a big deal for a lot of people actually. So if you can get over that hump, but then also try to take advantage of what I did is you can write it off on your taxes. So you get a little bit of that back the following year.
Yes, Billy, the education visa is definitely sort of a very cheap option because of the headings that it comes under. But again, it's securing that visa is the problem. And that can, as I said, if you were on a education visa pre-COVID, you'd probably get kicked out of the country by now because every institution is closed. So it's a bit of a dodgy one.
Yeah. Further on the education visa, currently in Thailand, from my understanding of research, it needs to be an approved Ministry of Education institute. So at the moment, the institutes, if you're applying for an education visa out of Thailand, have to be approved by the Ministry of Education. And they've got to be approved by third country consulates or embassies to allow you to get a education visa from a third country. Like for me, it's Australia. At the end of the 12 months, if you want to extend that education visa, when you apply for the extension, the immigration department, from my understanding, will then put you through a test as to your competency of your Thai language, to be able to extend that 12-month visa for a certain period of time, even though you are sponsored by a university or a registered education provider. You'll need to go through some sort of test at the immigration office to prove that you have been attending classes and you have got a grasp of the Thai education. Paul's popped up, or a working visa. Working visa, I haven't investigated, but that's a bit of a minefield where you actually, if you're going to work for a company, you've got to get a sponsorship letter. You have to prove that you're actually working for that company, and you have to prove that you're working for that company for a contracted period of time. Setting up your own business is even a bigger minefield where you have to employ a certain number of Thai people, and you have to have a certain percentage of the company owned by a Thai national. And then you get into what they call user funk issues, which I won't go into because I never investigated that and I don't know too much about it. Chris, I don't know whether you've looked into that at all, but
A lot of work. It's
yeah,
it's not an overnight process. It takes months,
yeah,
literally months. And I mean, if you have a real opportunity to do business here, and your timetable is far out, I would say go for it. But I mean, if you're anxious and you want to do things quick, again, Thai Elite was perfect for me. Again, I filled out my application on June 1st of 2018. I was approved June 6th. I wired the money July 3rd, and a week after that, I had everything ready to go. I was
yeah.
able to move here within 5 weeks. Would have been sooner, but I waited a couple weeks to transfer the money. I could have had everything done in 2 weeks.
Yeah, so Billy again's asked a question about upon applying the VOA visa, the immigration speaking, staff who speak English. Well, in Changwatan, there's no problem with the English language. They're all adept at the language, and a few other languages as well, from what I can understand, because the people see from people from all the Asian countries in there doing their renewals, and they seem to cope quite well. Out here, the 2 times I visited the office out here in Nakhon Pathom, I've just walked in, handed my passport across to the information desk. What are you here for? And bang, 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 in and out. It's just no comparison, but that's just this office here, and every office will be different. Now, the other one was Paul was telling. I was talking to a guy a few years ago, Phuket, who was on an ED visa. And then told me the police come to check the class. I've actually heard about that, Paul. Yes, I've heard about the police visits because there's a lot of scams going on with the whole ED visa, along with the marriage visa scams as well. They're loopholes, and they do need to check on that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So all I can say is do your research. They are legit, and one of Wazza's videos, I think it's called Ride in Monsoon, if you haven't checked it out on his YouTube and his Odyssey. I'll give Odyssey a plug. Wazza's been talking up Odyssey. Odyssey is another platform where you can get hold of Wazza and Chanya's videos, and you don't get the ad streams. You don't get the ads. Check out Odyssey. That Ride in a Monsoon video, Wazza talks about all sorts of different visas and how you go about doing the research. So I do recommend that. Click on that via Odyssey. And those that haven't got on Discord, you can see us on Discord. The reason I'm talking is Wazza's getting his kitchen finally done. And the workmen are there at the moment. And every time Wazza opens up his microphone, you get jackhammers, you get the drills, you get everything going on. So I'm going to try and do most of the talking for the live stream today. But jump on Discord. Now, I've got to explain Discord. Discord is our little coffee shop where you bring your own coffee, as Wazza describes it. It's our hangout group. So the link is actually part of the description on every one of Wazza and Chanya's videos. So Chris has joined us. Oggy was here earlier. It's our hangout area. It's nothing detrimental on anyone. It's sort of like our little coffee group. So come and join us. All you got to do is sign up, click the link which is under the description. It takes you straight to Waz's server, and you can actually come and join us like this. I've been here for quite some time now, and it's a little get-together, group, and it's come and join the community and everything like that. And while I've got the platform, don't forget to click the like button on the live stream as well. So that helps Wazza and Chanya out too. So, and it's actually good to see Wazza not being able to talk so much. I can see him sitting there in the video go, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. But yeah, what was the funniest thing that you found with the Elite Visa, Chris? Was there any little idiosyncrasies that you discovered as you came along with it, or was it pretty much all up front, apart from you being treated like a rock star at the airports as you came to and fro?
The rockstar thing is pretty funny. Like the very first time when I first arrived, you getting off the plane and the Thai elite girl that's dressed all in gold, she's in the jetway. She's right there with like a sign that says my name, getting off the plane, and they put you on this little tuk-tuk. They turn on the light, like a little siren. I'm like, oh my God, what are they doing to me? And they just like parade you through the airport. It's pretty funny, pretty embarrassing. It was really cool, like when I got my first real girlfriend here, and we went on a trip together. And you get picked up in a 7 Series BMW limousine, and she was loving that. And then the first time we took a trip together, they actually had 2 girls out there dressed in gold waiting for us at Suvarnabhumi Airport, and then a guy to carry our luggage. And it looked like, it literally looked like, I was somebody important. And I'm definitely, I was telling people I invented the piano necktie, but nobody understood that joke. So, which was too bad.
But you have been involved in a lot of gaming builds, haven't you? Tell us a bit about the gaming stuff. Come on.
I've worked in the video game toy industry for about 25 years. I got my first job working in the video game industry at the age of 17, right out of high school. There was a video game company in my hometown right outside of Chicago, Illinois. It was called TurboGrafx 16. It was a 16-bit video game system that tried to compete against the Sega Genesis and the Nintendo, Super Nintendo. And I was paid $9 an hour to play games all day and help kids that couldn't get past certain levels. I was the tip line. So like, I'd be playing a game and the kid would call like, how do you save the princess on level 7? And it was my job to play the game and know how to do it. It was like, I'm like, I'll pay you $12 an hour to sit on my ass and play the game. So it was great. That was my very first job in the gaming industry as a game counselor for tip lines. This was before the internet or anything like that. So like you couldn't get past a game, you had to call a tip line service or something like that. And it was great. I worked there for 3 years before the company unfortunately went under, but everybody then just spiderwebbed out throughout the industry. And then my next job in the gaming industry, I used to write for the video game magazines. I used to write for the second biggest and the first biggest video game magazines in the country. The first one was Electronic Gaming Monthly, EGM. I wrote for them for a little more than a year. And then I wrote for the number one gaming magazine called Game Pro. And I was in charge of all the new arcade games that came out. I did the fighting games and any game that took a long time to beat, the strategy guides. I would do all the strategy guides. So I literally, wow, you're going to love it. I got literally paid to go to the arcade to play games and write about them. It was crazy.
Every 14-year-old.
What a job! Dream job, yeah, dream job.
And then I did work for EA for 5 years, Electronic Arts.
Nice. Yeah.
I made 6 games with them. I did NBA Street Volume 2. I worked on FIFA 2003. And NBA Live as well. I did Fight Night, the boxing game. I did 2 versions of that. But I got to tell you, making a video game is really hard. I was a producer, and a producer means you're in charge of all the content, and you have to manage not only the software engineers, but also the art staff. And it's a lot of pressure. And then you get a lot of shit because, the software engineer is like, well, you're not a software engineer. You don't know how to code. So why am I taking orders from you? And then I go to the art team like, well, Chris, I've seen your drawings of stick figures. I'm a real artist. You're not an artist. So you get a lot of shit taking that, from the people that really do the work in the game. Producers do work, but I mean, like the heart of a game really is the software engineers and the artists that make the games look beautiful and play correctly. But a producer, it's almost like a producer on a movie. You have to put out fires all day long, and you're very much unappreciated. But then when something goes wrong, it's always your fault. I'm like, what? I didn't type in that 001 in the code. Why is it my fault? And the hours are grueling, just grueling. I once worked 36 hours without going home. And then I once worked 2 months without a day off. During crunch time when you're trying to get all the bugs out of the game and everything like that, you're working 17, 19-hour days. It's brutal. I tell people, like, if you want to make video games, you have to live with the fact that you're never going to see the sun, and you don't care about kissing a girl because you're not going to have a social life. And you got to be really passionate, super talented.
We've just lost half the audience on that comment. Yeah, no girls. Oh my god.
So if you're coming to Thailand, don't make video games while you're living in Thailand because you're not going to have a social life, basically.
No, you won't have a social life. The analogy that I like to tell people, like when I used to tell people I made video games, they're like, "Oh, that's amazing," and I would say, it's fun to drive a Ferrari. It's not fun to make one. And they're like, "Oh, I never thought of it that way." And it's tough. And the thing about video games is, a lot of times you don't get to pick the game you work on. You either work in a certain, department, and that's the game you've either adopted from the previous generations or, something else. So, you'll work on a game for, 12 to 18 months. And if it's a game you don't like, you're stuck with it. You got to learn to like it for that long. But I like the toy industry a lot better. I worked for in the toy industry a lot longer, many years. I worked for the biggest toy industry. I worked for Hasbro. So I worked on Furby, Pokemon, Harry Potter, Marvel, Disney, Star Wars toys. I've been very blessed. I worked on some of the greatest brands, the coolest things. And in the toy industry, you work on multiple projects at one time, which is great. So I'm like, working on this game for a little bit, and then I'm putting out the Spire over here, and then I'm working on this new license. It's a lot of fun. That's a lot of fun. But, a lot of my friends are still, in the industry. 2 of my closest friends work at Microsoft, and they love it. Microsoft, they do a good job. They try to do a good work balance, but their office has been shut down since a year and a half since COVID started. And the Microsoft campus is like a 5-star resort. The campus is gorgeous, just unbelievable. And I cannot believe it's shut down, and everyone's just working from home.
Andy, you've got a lovely girl. What are you talking about? Just pull your head in. Paul, does anyone ever wonder who the people are watching live streams that don't chat? This is typical. You'll always get that. Some people are driving cars. People are doing their housework just with their headphones on. We have investigated this before. People are free to come and chat if they want to come and chat. Then again, they may not be subscribers and they can't chat because I've turned that feature on, which is subscriber only mode. If you do want to chat, then you just got to wait a minute before you can actually type something. It's a feature that I've just only discovered on the channel, and hopefully it's just not so much to gain subscribers. It's more about stopping those freaking chat bots that come on, and the other stuff that happens on the channel. So yeah, it just it's this thing. I was watching Reshared Travel one of his videos yesterday. He mentions it on his channel, so I thought, oh, I didn't even know that feature existed, so I turned it on. So why not? You know, that's not a channel you probably might want to plug into from time to time. Reshared Travel. He's sort of I'm not quite sure what he does. He sort of has a different angle on the whole live stream sort of genre, and he gets special guests on as well. I know sort of. As a marquee, he put something on his, took some photos on when he was flying over here to give him a bit of a plug or something. Still don't know what actually happened there, but I'm sure he can come on and tell us. Looks like we've stopped some of the noise downstairs, but I'll
Yeah.
stay on the push to talk for the moment, so just in case they start back up again.
Shout out to Wybotha. Thank you very much for the super chat, for helping Wazza out. Big thumbs up. Cheers, mate.
Oh, that was the other thing I wanted to mention as well. Like we mentioned about the Discord, and again, it's something that I keep on trying to make clear. Now, it might be my Discord server, but there's thousands of Discord servers around the place. What I like to sort of refocus on, this is our Discord server. Just because I'm not here doesn't mean you can't join in and talk to your friends as well. Like if Chris had some friends in the US, he doesn't have to set up his own server. He can say, here, have this, and bang, he can bring his friends in to have a chat. And so same with Todd and anybody else here on the channel. This is our server. Unlike the other chat systems like Facebook and Twitter and Zoom and or not so much Hangouts, what they call it on Google now, they call it something else now. You actually have to start the call for people to join. This one here, it's always running. It's your house. You can come in and participate at your own level of engagement with your friends. You don't have to have me here to start a chat, if you know what I mean. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I drop in as per my nickname, TA the DJ, and I could be playing a random album, and Psycho drops in, MVD drops in, and we could be just talking about how their day been. Psycho has been moving around Thailand trying to find a condo over the last 3 or 4 weeks, and just going through what he's visited and where he's been and the paperwork he's had to go through. It can be as simple as that. Sort of how I've been talking to everyone about the rigmarole I've been going through with paperwork with getting my escape Alcatraz sorted out. And yes, I've had frustrating days, and being by myself, I've jumped onto Discord and chatted with Wazza and chatted with MVD and gone, shit, I've had one of those days. Who can I talk to and just let it out so I can sort of move on to my next thing? I'll jump on to Discord and bring Wazza up to date. It's that sort of environment. It's sort of, as Wazza calls it, it's the coffee club. You just got to bring your own coffee, and or you can.
I just saw Matthew and Kimbo have joined the actual Discord. They're probably still going through the learning process. Discord is a little bit more involved than your typical chat program. And once you've done the initial thing, is like I've sort of said on the welcome screen, just write a brief description of who you are, how you found the channel, just so that we know the fact that you've got some sort of association with, you found it this way, or somebody's invited you. Then fine, that's all we're looking for. So it just makes it like a context. Yes.
Kimbo would be my brother, I am assuming. So he's gone through all the work to get onto the server. So that would be his nickname, I'm assuming.
Okay, well, Kimbo's been just approved, so he can now, he's got more elevated security. And there's a few security levels. As you get better with the system, your security goes up. Like we've got Psycho and Oggy, they know how to run the server, so they've got all the privileges to do all that sort of stuff. We've got our Fitzcon, which is like Chris, he knows Discord. Oh my God, stop that! But yeah, you get the idea. They're drowning me out again because I've started talking. Oh, well, I'll let Todd can take over.
Yeah, so that's all you got to do. Just go. It's not like Facebook where everything happens automatically. It's not like Twitter where everything happens automatically. You have to jump through a couple of little hoops, and you can be part of the chat. So it's a place where you can join like-minded people, using Wazza's words. I don't like paraphrasing, but yeah, it's a great place to sort of talk without sort of people sort of dropping in that you don't want to drop in. I think that's the best way of saying it. It's our little hangout, and I'm glad Chris has joined us, because I did have some sort of queries, because I did look at the elite visa, but I'm lucky enough to be over the age of 50, and sort of did look at the ED visa because I am interested in cultures and in languages. I learnt Japanese and stayed over in Japan for a while, and next sort of place that I got on my list, that being an ex-military vet that wasn't sort of a war zone or a humanitarian disaster area, was Thailand. So, and the good thing about the Thai language, it's only got one alphabet instead of Japanese, which has got four. So I don't think it'll be too much of a struggle for me. Hopefully, just got to watch the tonals, the 5 tones they say,
Right.
because as Bolt said, "Hey kid, it's dad." Videos. If you say "cow," which is rice, there's about 35 other different meanings to the word "cow," depending on the tone or inference you can use for that that one word. So you can get yourself in a spot of other. Is it Mao? Mao can mean horse, dog, or mother. Depending on what context you put it in. I could be wrong, but I'm trying to learn as I go along before I get there. So it's going to be an interesting time.
Yeah, mare, which is mother, and ma, which is
Ma.
horse. So don't you call your mother ma. Good morning,
Thanks,
horse. good morning, horse.
Mayor Groves is right on point. I'll be learning Thai lessons from Mayor Groves as well. I'm one of those people that will sponge it all in and sort of take it all lightheartedly. I'm not here for to learn a thesis or get my master's in languages, majoring in Thai, but I'm here to sort of inculcate myself into the culture and sort of sponge it up and get to know it, and at the same time do dual rides or trio rides with Bolt when he joins us, and enjoy the countryside. And we've got to get you on a motorbike, Chris. You don't like motorbikes, or it was never part of your life?
I never had the opportunity. I mean, I'm from Chicago, so we have 5 months of just horrible weather. And I just never. I was more into sports cars. I learned my first car I ever learned to drive was a stick shift Mustang. So I mean, I could drive stick really well. But I just never. None of my friends had motorcycles. I just didn't. Just really wasn't around it. Not that I don't like it. I just never had the opportunity. But I would be definitely open to learning. I think it's embarrassing that I have no idea how to even ride one. But anything with a stick shift, I can definitely drive.
Oh well, instead of having it, well, you're your left-hand drive, so stick shifts on your right hand. But it's handlebar time with your feet. So I mean, they've got riding schools in Thailand, so you've got to learn the basics if you've never ridden a bike before. But I don't know how good the riding schools are in Thailand. Considering, sorry, go, Chris.
I was going to say it's something I'm definitely going to have to do at some point, because right now I'm in I live in Tonglo, so I'm super and I'm right off the main Sukhumvit, so I mean it's super easy for me to just use public transportation for everything. But I think at some point I will transfer out of the Bangkok area, so I'm like, I'm gonna need a motorbike at some point. So the day should be coming sooner than later for me to actually learn the process.
Was it Boss and Robert are asking what's going on? This is a 3D model that I've built. This is modelling the downstairs kitchen, dining room remodeling. And what they're doing downstairs, they're actually cutting this bloody hole in this wall, and give you a bit of an idea. So that's what's going on downstairs, is just that the work to cut that hole in there. And this is what our kitchen looks like downstairs, and this is what it's going to look like it's finished. We're just playing with what we're going to do on this feature wall inside the dining room, and we're having arguments about this. So we'll tell you about that as the weeks progress, what we actually end up putting on this wall. She wants something really dark, I want something light. And, we will fight about this, unless people think we have a perfect life, but no, we sit down, we fucking fight. What are we going to put on that back wall? We're a typical couple, come on.
So Todd, where are you now?
Where am I? I'm upstairs. I'm upstairs in the computer room.
Right.
So this is just
Gotcha.
this is like 20 feet away, from where I'm recording, and of course it just vibrates through all the walls.
Vibrating everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
so
Gotcha.
it's all right. We'll manage.
And Todd, you said you're in the. Where are you right now? Are you up north?
No, I'm actually still in Adelaide in Australia. So, but everything is all moving forward to me getting over there in mid-December. So everything's on track, and I'm just sort of. This is probably you'll see it in the next couple of weeks. I've still got some furniture around me, but keep an eye on the bookshelves. As soon as you see the bookshelf empty out, I'm getting down to the last 70-80% of stuff being sold or put in storage. But yeah, I had some motorbike gear arrive on Friday, some knee pads and hip pads for my motorbike pants and everything. So yeah, everything's sort of coming together for spending Christmas and New Year's in the land of smiles. So hence why I'm sort of on top of all the immigration stuff. I'm watching it so closely because everything will change within a 24-hour period, and I'll have to scramble like that duck on water to catch up.
I'm glad it's opening up, but I mean, it can go tits up as any moment. But if it does change and you need any help or questions, please let me know, because I just went through the process. As far as like filling out all the paperwork, everything you had to do online, and it was. I mean, I'm a pretty good organized person, and it was a big deal, but not a big deal. But I can imagine someone that's just not really computer savvy, that just doesn't understand paperwork. It can be overwhelming. Like when they first sent you the one email of like the main 8 steps you need to do, and then I'm like, oh, okay, and I'm like, oh no, then after that you got to do these other steps. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I have to do it through 2 different websites and do this, and it was crazy. I even copied and pasted it and put it on my Facebook feed of like, this is what I need to do to come back into where I have a condo, where I live. It's crazy. So if things change, let me know.
Global travel, mate. Look, if you can work out, there's a link to the Discord. We won't talk about it inside the stream because it's just all technical, but you're welcome to drop in, and I'll try to do my best to walk you through all the details, like I did with Sonny. So Sonny got his channel up and running. I had Ethan from Korea. He used to be a vlogger here in Thailand. Got him up and running. I'm only too happy to help people out, but it's something we just can't do on stream, if you know what I mean. We're here to talk to Chris. The main theme today is the Thailand Elite Visa, which now I'm seriously, if I can work out how to do this shit, that might be something like, I've got $1 million baht in a bank account here, like I'll get the 20 year, just it's a no-brainer. Let's just do it, Here's my $1 million baht, I can't do anything with that money anyway, and it's going to save me 12,000 baht a year because I don't have to have my health insurance, or I can get a more relative health insurance policy that might be better for my health, and rather than just complying with a fucking visa,
I was really shocked that they had no interest of knowing anything about me medically, no pressure whatsoever. I was really shocked, especially with all the other visas you need it. And especially now with COVID, you need it. And even to this day, they've never sent me an email saying, hey, because of COVID, we need you to get medical insurance. They've never, ever once said me any other than apologizing. Sorry, you can't take advantage of all the services we have because of COVID. There's even things like they give me special deals if I go to spas or if I want to go golfing or there's all these other things they give you discounts for and stuff like that. And they have to apologize like you're not getting taking advantage of our services. So here's an extra 6 months.
Yeah.
So
Just answering to one of Grovesy's questions. Yeah, I am doing all of it myself, Mayor Groves. I am on top of it. Similar to Chris, I'm good with paperwork. I'm very OCD. I think it stems from my previous work position. It's just everything changes every 24 hours. Like new Premier New South Wales came out last week and said New South Wales is now opening up the country for everyone, of his state for everyone, international travellers coming in and out, no questions asked. And then the Prime Minister came in and said, no, we're not doing that. It's Australian residents only and their direct family. Pull back on what's happening in New South Wales. And then I'm going, well, I've got my exemption to leave Australia. I've got my pre-approval with my visa. I've sent my passport away. I got 90% of my COE done. Then Thailand comes out and say they're going to scrap COE for 10 different countries. They've only listed 5 countries. Is Australia going to be one of the last 5 countries that Thailand's going to announce? We don't know yet. We've got to wait until the 1st of November. Then the health minister comes out and says that may not happen because there'll still be quarantine because you still got to pass a PRT test. So that's what I mean by that, Mayor Groves, is there's always moving parts that will modify either my COE, my ASQ, and I'm going to further rental accommodation afterwards, my ASQ. So if things move, well, then I've got to contact not just one organisation, I've got to contact 3 or 4 organisations. So everything zips together in one smooth stream. So if one thing changes, then I've got to change 3 or 4 different things. So hence why I'm saying I'm fastidious with watching what's happening with immigration and making sure everything's sort of, I suppose, forefront of my mind to keep things actively in a positive direction rather than going, okay, I'm not sure what's going on. That's why with you saying, oh, no, I didn't have to worry anything about it. I just told them what I was doing and they took care of the rest. So, and when I do the AO visa, I still got to fork out, as Warren said, the 800 to a million baht in the bank account anyway.
yeah.
And it's only for 12 months. If I really want to stay more, I've got myself involved with an education faculty that I want to be involved with further, then I've got to reapply again. So hence why with Wazza saying it's something to look into, but Wazza's previous experience with the Elite Visa company doesn't give it a positive spotlight.
Yeah, and that's just my experience. I just haven't. Apart from Chris, that's the only positive I've had. I've heard all the other sort of rumours around the place, and you go on, well, who do you believe? Well, I'd rather believe Chris because we've drunk and had beer together, and we've ogled the women together, and we fucking play game. We don't play games together. We've got to go. I think he plays the sports games, and I play the space games. So.
I really don't. I don't. The last game, actually, the game I've been playing now is it's by Ubisoft. It's Immortal Phoenix Rising. Really good game.
Never heard of it, so there you go. But yeah, so there's a lot of stuff like that. You know, there's so many games out there. It's almost like so many different worlds. Oh my god. Tell me about it. But anyway, so so we are talking about the Elite Visa, but as I said, we've got gamers and motorcycle riders here, and this is something we're going to build up on. Things are going to be changing with the Discord in the future as well. There's going to be sort of other things we're going to be doing. One of the things we can't do on YouTube is, live stream from Susie's bar, for instance, because there's commercial music playing. So that's something that's on the cards for next week. Now that I've had my, you can probably see the, I don't know, is it still there? Yeah, there's
double jabbed.
I've been double jabbed, so I've had my second jab now. So I will be going into Bangkok next Friday. I'm hooking up with the meetup crew on Friday morning at 11 o'clock at the Emporium. We're going to be in coffee, then lunch, then afternoon tea. Then we're going to be cruising up to Susie's, and then when I'm at Susie's, I'm going to set the camera up, and we're going to be streaming into Discord, where you can ask anybody anything and just be part of the crowd at Susie's without being at Susie's, if you know what I mean, and I'll be able to film the street, show the street because hey, I'm not getting the critical oligarch of YouTube telling me what I can and can't stream because this is a private Discord channel, right? And this is for my friends, right? Where we can just be a gang hanging out at Susie's bar, for instance. This is obviously an extension to the ride video we'll be doing. And I think like Wednesday, I took, was it Wednesday, Tuesday? I took Todd shopping on Tuesday. We were looking at pricing on the shopping. There's so much flexibility we got with the Discord system outside of what you're currently used to in the interwebs, Discord is designed specifically for interactivity and building communities. And this is what we're doing. We're building a community of like-minded people, and everybody's welcome. It's just there's only really one rule: don't be a dick.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not an elite Discord channel, Stephen Monash. Everyone is welcome, including you, if you learn how to use it. As long as you don't talk about watches, you're welcome to come and join us. So, Sergio, welcome. We did see you pop in and out. It can be a little bit tricky, but welcome to Discord. You look like you got it organised. And Mayor Groves, yes, I was talking about the OA visa, which is the retirement visa. And yes, it's the same as what Wazza is on at the moment. But the more that Chris talks about the elite visa, the more I'm interested in following it up because, I checked it out. But same like you, Chris, when I saw their website, not much information on it to sort of give it, I use it sort of in hyphens, a legit
Yeah,
feel
exactly.
to it.
That was the thing that just scared me. I'm like, it just looks like, someone just put this together in like a couple of hours. It just doesn't seem really professional for someone that's going to take so much of my money up front. Yeah, that was really my only concern I ever had was like, how legit is this? And
Well, that's it. We get that, don't we? We get that because we are in the industry, and you just look at these poor attempts. Like I'm no expert. I've got a nice website, which I think is all better than any other vlogger's website out there. It's updated daily, But probably get 40 to 50 people a week look at the website, It's not like it's going to be freaking Microsoft or something, but it's there. It's another part of it, built well. It seemed to do its job, but you look at this stuff that people are doing. What are they paying these web programmers? Maybe I should be doing something in that other field.
Right, I know. And then the only other real concern I had is like, and we give them all this money up front, and then what happens on there? And then a year later, like, oh, we're dissolving it. What does that mean? Do I get money back? Do I get to run out my visa? I've sort of tried to ask that question when I go in and I do my 90-day reporting, and they're just like, it's not going away. You're fine. You're grandfathered in. I have a whole page on my passport that has like this gold foil that says Thai Elite, and it says that I'm allowed to stay here till well, it's the old one. It doesn't have the extra 6 months, so it says I'm allowed to stay until the year 2023 of July. So even if I think they did dissolve it, I think I can still be able to get in using that. Like the second I ever and then go to any airport, they're like, "Well, when's your return flight?" I'm like, "I don't have a return flight. I'm not going back to America anytime soon. I live in Thailand." They're like, "How do you live in Thailand?" I'm like, "I'm Thai Elite." And they look at that page in my passport. They're like, "Oh, okay, I get it." And then no more questions. So that was really my only concerns. Like if something happens, what happens to my credentials from that standpoint. But it's been I don't think there's going to be an issue if they survive everything right now with COVID. I think they'll be around for hopefully another 20 years. And I think
Yeah,
they're going to
that's what the
continue.
thought that I had. Yeah,
Yeah.
if the actual infrastructure or the umbrella group dissolves, because as Wazza mentioned earlier in the chat, um, through his research, he's seen it might be related to a corporation in Singapore. So
Yeah.
if that's the case, if that conglomerate sort of dissolves, what then happens to, as you said, there's about 8,000 members at the moment. Do those facilities and functions still occur?
I think what they would do is, I think they would dissolve things that cost them money up front, like the limo service that they have to do
Yeah,
when you go to the airport. They'd get rid of that. They'd get rid of the ability to go to their lounge area at the airport. They'd get rid of all the extra perks of like discounts if you want to go golfing or go to the spa or do some type of shopping. They would get rid of all that, but I think they would, at a minimum, keep your visa still a visa. You can come to the country and stay as long as you want, and we'll just monitor you every 90
yeah,
days like we would do with anybody else. And
yeah,
I would be, at this point, I'd be okay with it. I think I got my money's worth thus far.
yeah.
Um, doing all the things that they've done for me, and um, you know, I got 9 or 10 trips already worth where they really, put on the big show for going to the airport and stuff like that.
Well,
So
it does fit into this new tourism push going forward, which is something we've been talking about all this week. I've got another article I was going to refer to, and we've got somebody else joining us here on the channel. I don't see who it is because I've got the screen covered. But yeah, so they're now talking about this big push for the elite, not so much elite visa holders, but they're looking for the high spending tourists, right? And as we've been saying all week, without opening the bars and clubs, right, their whole idea of revamping or getting tourists back into Thailand, people are they're just totally not on the same planet as the rest of the world. But at least the elite visa does fall into that, elitist sort of mentality that they are trying to push. So, if the push come to shove, I think they'd probably sort of be shutting down, the loopholes in the marriage visa and the loopholes in the education visa and the loopholes in the what they call the volunteer visa. They would be the first things to be exited from the system before they would affect the tourist visa, because as I said, it's written into law and it takes a hell of a lot of that. You can't really have any Thai laws changed. They're going to be modified. And what could you modify on the tourism visa that would prohibit the average person coming to the country? So yeah, you got to think about the other sort of flip side of this thing as well, which we very rarely do. It's where being an IT engineer, I've always had to think flip sides, because you've got to work with all these people who want to write code that doesn't make sense. But anyway, that's another story altogether.
Thank you, Steve Monash, for the towards the elite visa GoFundMe kitty.
there you go.
He's a funny guy, that man, isn't he?
Well, I got to tell you, you can really take advantage of everything out here right now. Because now they just said we're reopened November 1st. My girlfriend's birthday is December 2nd, so we're going to Koh Samui for 4 days, Thursday through Sunday, and I rented a 4-bedroom villa right on the water for like $300 a night. Which normally it's like $850 or something like that. It's like a crazy thing, and it's huge. It's huge. So, I think prices are gonna stay that way for, I think, a couple of more months, and I think maybe towards the end of December they're gonna start jacking up the prices depending on how many people come in. But for right now, if you're able to come, if you're vaccinated, I would do it starting November 1st, as long as you don't care about what's going to happen with the bars and all that stuff. But if you want to just come here and really do day excursions, days, just really just chill out and relax and, live like a millionaire for a couple of weeks at a time, and you don't care about, going to the go-go bars or the bars in general. Hopefully they will open soon, but I think man, there's some great
If you
deals
want to
out
be
there
a
right now.
tourist, then it's ideal. Yeah, yeah. Travelling man, the motor elite visas were sold. I believe I did read those articles last year. Basically, people couldn't get into the country, so they had a big surge of applications in the elite tourist, category. But unfortunately, because it's a tourist visa, it fell under the same mandates as any tourist visa. You weren't allowed in the country, and they were pushing tooth and nail to have laws changed or the emergency decree changed so they could let in their paying customers, which I think that's how you got your extension because you weren't allowed to come in. Even though you were here, I think you went out, you bounced out, but then of course bouncing out was a big, big situation and difficulty as well. Yeah, so it's interesting. They do have to, like if you were in Australia and you were trying to come to Thailand on the elite tourist visa, the Australian government would have told you to go fuck yourself because no tourism. Tourists aren't allowed to leave the country. So you would have been doubly shafted. This is some of the other sort of situation. Thankfully, all this stuff is, water under the bridge, and we're looking better at sort of managing that stuff as we go forward now. So things are changing. G'day, Sharon. Shannon, sorry, Shannon. Got to get better glasses. Good to have you along. And Jenny, good to see you here again. Don't forget there is the super chat down below. If it's not typed, if you're putting a message, you've got to be a subscriber now because we're trying to avert the situation with the bots that come in here and randomly tell go hopping, where the cheap girls are or something, and it keeps on popping that much. I don't know why he said he said he was going to come on this morning. He's obviously here, but he hasn't pressed the button to join the chat, apart from typing. Obviously, he still hasn't got his clothes on, I'm guessing, and that's probably a good thing.
What has been seen cannot be unseen. I don't want to see that.
Exactly right.
Yes, Chris. Everything's sorted. It's just a process of counting down. I'm under double-digit weeks now, so I've gone through one milestone. Wazza and I spoke about it a couple of months ago. It's sort of like, damn, I got all this time to pass me by, and I sort of checked the calendar. Damn, I'm down to.
Yeah. Have you noticed anything different with? Are you taking the same type of flights you did before everything, all the crazes? Because mine had changed dramatically.
No, Australia is very different at the moment. I actually had to get permission to leave my country. I mean, I'm a veteran, I'm ex-military, and I served my country for quite a few years. And I found it sort of one of the interesting things that I actually had to get permission to leave the country I served. I finally did get it after a couple of little speed bumps. Which was the brunt of for a couple of days. I was a bit frustrated and anxious, but yeah, finally got permission to leave my country. Flights out of Australia, because they're not letting people return to Australia, are very limited. But I was able to find some flights. Initially, it was going to be me sort of spending quite some time at a couple of airports during transit, which was going to make that 72-hour PRT window very interesting. But I was finally able to get some flights where I've only got a 2-hour layover at one of the transit lounges, which means I've only got a 14-hour flight. So it'll just be a day trip, and I'll be landing in Bangkok. So
Awesome.
everything's all sorted. But me being me, I'm keeping a very close eye on things that are that may put a speed bump or a brick wall in the way. So
yeah, it made it challenging for me with COVID. I used to. There's never been a direct flight from Chicago to Thailand to Bangkok, so I used to always fly Chicago to Hong Kong and then Hong Kong to Bangkok, and I used to fly United, but they And at that flight, Hong Kong to Chicago has been around for 20 years. It's United Flight 895. I know it because I've been flying it forever. But right when the pandemic started, they got rid of it. They just removed it completely. So I had to then fly a different airline and fly to Narita. So Bangkok to Narita, then Narita to Chicago, and I'm flying. I flew ANA, my first time
Yep.
ever flying them. They were great. I actually and it took me 23 hours in total. Um, and because of that process, I'm like, oh my god, I gotta wear a mask for like 24 hours basically at once. I'm like, I'm gonna treat myself. I actually upgraded to business class, and it was still cheap. It was only $2,300 for roundway trip business class, which
Yep.
I thought well worth it. So I think you could still get really good deals flying out here. I think the airlines are still kind of please we want your business.
Yeah, Northern Hemisphere is very good, but because Australia's isolated and has isolated itself for almost 2 years now, a lot of airlines have been very minimalistic in regards to their approach of flying in and out of Australia. Even to the point where our own airline, Qantas, their main flights are out of Sydney and Perth.
Okay.
Because opposite ends of the continent. So you're flying out of Perth and then you're flying out of Sydney. They've now moved their Perth flights to Darwin. They're not even flying international out of Perth. And the
Mm.
saying was last week, you can actually fly out of Sydney to Bali before you can fly from Sydney to Broome. So we'll, uh, people in Australia will actually fly internationally before they can fly interstate, which I find
Right.
mind-boggling with what's going on. So, but yeah, it's crazy. But if you want to do it, there are means and ways. You've just got to do the research, and you've just got to be upfront and honest about it. And yeah, there's a lot of people throwing their hands in the air and doing the Macaulay Culkin with the Home Alone. I don't want to be vaccinated, but that is the way things are going. Um, if you want to move forward and get back to some sort of normalcy, we had to do it
Absolutely.
with smallpox. We had to do it with other illnesses that occurred.
I mean, you being in the
Um,
military, you had to probably take more vaccines than anybody, like all of us combined.
well, I'll go back to one humanitarian operation I was involved on was when Tonga and Samoa got hit by the tsunami back in 2008, 2009. I had, before I got on the evacuation ship to do the humanitarian evacuations, I had to get 7 inoculations immediately, and that's no questions asked. And I'd been inoculated for everything before you actually get into the military. You have to pay for them yourself. And then when you're in the military, going through basic training, they give you more inoculations.
Yeah.
And then before we do this operation, I had to get 7 more injections before I even jumped on the humanitarian ship. And then when I first went to the Middle East for my first deployment to the Middle East, I had to get another 4 injections because there's actually naturally occurring anthrax in the Middle East. So things like that. So getting inoculated against something that will possibly kill me, being over the age of 50, and I'm fit, but I know a lot of people that are over the age of 50 that aren't fit, that do have underlying medical conditions that if their immune system is compromised, which is what the COVID virus does, it compromises your breathing and other major parts of your body. If you get compromised in those areas, you're going to struggle. Like last week, I was sick. I apologize for not being involved with the live stream last week. And I'm a fit ex service person. I got knocked on my ass by a gastro bug. I
Oh,
literally got knocked on my ass by a gastro bug.
wow.
And I went to hospital. Uh, and this is me saying, right, I've I've been through really bad places, and it knocked me on the ass. And I was actually lying in the hospital bed going, Well, this is just a bloody gastro bug, and it's knocked me on the ass. Imagine if it was something worse than that. And they put the drip in me. I sucked down 4 litres of saline solution from my house to the hospital. That's how bad I was, and that was just a gastro bug. So when I see people jumping up and down and going, okay, there is something available to them that will protect them to a next level, and they go, no, well, we don't want to do that for ourselves. Well, don't do it for yourselves, do it for your community. That's just me on my soapbox. I can jump down now, Wazza.
Well, look, I'm of the same mind. Like, it should be a personal choice. Do you take a vaccine or do you not take a vaccine? Up to you. I like the old up to you, but please, I want to know whether you're vaccinated or not, right? Because if you're not vaccinated, I prefer to keep at least 2 meters away from you, even though I've been double injected, because the actual virus can be on my body. An antigen test, right, can be run on me and prove to the authorities that I have come in contact with the virus, right, and then they may whittle me off to some sort of fucking 2-week quarantine. What? Why? Because I shook hands with somebody on the street? I want to know whether you've been vaccinated, and I want to know whether you're covered, right, so that my health risk is minimised, right? I need to know that, right? And I don't care of the efficiency of the vaccines, right? The other thing, I was just looking to make sure, I'm just waiting for it to go through it on my app on my phone, just to see if I've got the barcode, so I've got the app activated, so which means that as from probably next week, if they really enforced the vaccinated, double vaccinated mandate to enter restaurants and other places, other venues, which is still going to happen supposedly, at least I will be not refused entry, which is the main thing I was trying to look at. And so when I was there yesterday, the actual second jab, and unlike the first freaking jab I had, which was the complete, absolutely schmozzle, 4.5 hours there, 5 hours, I think we were there for 5 hours all up, versus walked in the door, this queue here, the jab process took no longer than 5 minutes. Right, which in the 4.5 minutes was walking to where you got the jab. Right, what took longer was the fact that because my registered date for the vaccine second jab was the 19th, they had to go into their computer system to actually change it to the 15th, which wasn't a problem. Right, so they did that for me. They changed the date. That took longer than the jab. Right. The other thing that took longer than the jab was after I'd been jabbed, they said, how do I activate the application, the doctor ready applications all in Thai? Because somebody helped me register that and get that up and running. And then we had to walk from one side of Bangsu Station to the other side of Bangsu Station, right, which took 5 minutes there, 5 minutes back, and 5 minutes on the counter. It took longer to actually activate the application on my phone than it did to get the jab. So that was what I went through yesterday, which is in the video. I'll put together probably today or tomorrow or something and get it out there. But we do talk about it. But so that was my experience with second jab. So I'm doing it, one, for my family. I got no issue about catching the flu, I know my health-wise, whenever I've had the worst case flu epidemics in Australia and I get a sniffle or I get a sore throat for 24 hours, right, I take my magical potions, which I have, all on my shelf, and I'm over and done within 24 hours. I still have my Senegal ammonia here, see? My Senegal ammonia. That's the magic elixir.
Oh yeah.
And of course none of the big pharmaceuticals make any money from that shit, but that's the way it goes. I've never really succumbed to influenza. I've never really succumbed to the common cold because I trust my immune system. But I don't trust Chanya's immune system. I don't trust Chanya's mother's immune system, if you know what I mean. So I want to be vaccinated to protect them. I don't think about myself. Look, I don't. They can shove like the stuff I put in my arm over the. We were talking about this. The stuff I have put in my arm over the years, right? Compared to that shit, that's a mosquito bite. Come on.
Yeah.
And yeah, you get the idea. So you got to. You get a bit of a picture of that sort of situation. People just get so wound up in this. Like I don't know what they're getting wound up in. They've obviously not on the same planet as me, obviously, or I've gone to a different planet. I don't know.
Well, Travelling Man's put up there, the vaccine doesn't stop you getting the COVID. No, it doesn't, but it protects you from the severe effects of the virus. And what happens if the virus has a place to incubate and propagate, it makes you a carrier. If you've got a better immune system or a supercharged immune system with the vaccine, it does not give the virus the chance to incubate and propagate. That's what the vaccine does. It doesn't stop you from catching the virus. Most of us probably have a level of the virus on us now, but because of our immune system, it doesn't allow it to incubate and propagate. It's basic chemistry. If we all remember our chemistry lessons from high school, if you did university, the vaccine does not stop you getting the COVID virus on you or in you. What it does, it boosts your immune system, or it supercharges your immune system to stop the virus from incubating and propagating. It's basic chemistry. I'm not what they call an immunologist or whatever that's studied viruses, but I did do high-level chemistry at school, and that's basic 101 chemistry.
Alas, most people didn't do chemistry at school. I remember it was a very small class compared to the whole school. They'd rather do history and all the non-intellectual subjects, all the memory subjects. That's how we used to classify them when I was at high school. They're just memory retention subjects, nothing where you actually have to work anything out, Me, I was physics, chemistry, or mathematics, geography. I was hopeless at English. I still am hopeless at English, I've got to use this thing called Grammarly to correct my spelling, and my grammar, because I'm absolutely hopeless. But anyway.
Well, Travelling Man, it depends on how good your immune system is. If you're a fit, healthy person that looks after yourself, the vaccine gives your body a chance to cope. It's like eating healthy. If you're not healthy, you take the vaccine, it kickstarts your immune system. If you're healthy, you take the vaccine, it supercharges your immune system. And like Wazza said, I mean, I've taken vaccines most of my life because I had to, not because of my military service. It's because when you're in the military, you're part of a whole, you're part of a team. So you're protecting yourself, but you're protecting the team. And that's what I think is lacking at the moment. People aren't looking at the team, their community, their society, their friends, their family. They're thinking self. I'm not doing it because I'm being selfish. I'm going to pretend that I've got an exemption from taking the virus. I'm going to make a stance. I'm going to be selfish. That's fine. That's your choice. You can be selfish. I'm not going to take anyone's personal decisions away from them. But if you want to think about your family, your friends, your community, your neighborhood, and moving forward, what's going to hurt you? They've worked out the tests. They've done the studies. Yes, there's side effects. But there's side effects with taking goddamn Disprin. I've never sworn on this site, and I'm not going to swear on this site, was it? I was just about to say the F word. There are side effects with. There's side effects with taking Disprin. There's side effects with drinking Coke. There's side effects with eating McDonald's. But because we're brainwashed into thinking that's okay, and all of a sudden the anti-vaxxers come out, and there was such a void where governments weren't on the front foot with saying, hey, we've done all this research, we've thrown X amount of $1 billion over a period of 1 to 2 weeks to make sure we're getting this right. The anti-vaxxers jumped in and said, we'll throw this in there, we're throwing that in there, throwing that there. it's up to you. Everyone's got a personal decision, but if you want to think about someone else apart from yourself,
Yeah.
that's how I think. But that's how I've always thought, okay, how can I help other people make the best of the situation?
Yeah, exactly. I usually go home once a year to Chicago to spend time with my mom. My mom is 79 years old. I see her once a year. If I'm lucky, I'll see her 3 or 4 more times. Hopefully
Yeah.
more. And I uh, had to delay it like an extra 9 months until the vaccine was available. She was able to get it first. I'm like, I can't go home to see you until you're vaccinated. Like, I think I'll be fine. But if I know that I give you the virus and you get really sick or die, I'm not going to live with myself. And then the second I landed from the airport, I got my vaccine at Walmart. It's so easily available in America. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yes,
It's almost
Ruinscape. Yes, we're not Vulcans. The human race are not Vulcans. They don't operate on logic. Only
No.
very few of us do.
I wasn't saying that, RuneScape. You can still pass on the virus, vaccine or not. The virus is there to help you. It's your choice whether you take it or not. If you want to review the video, that's what I said. There are side effects. There's side effects to everything. So there is logic there. Just relook at the video afterwards. Sorry, Chris.
You want to hear so it was my first goal. The second I landed, I got my first shot. I got the Pfizer vaccine. Had no side effects, nothing, felt fine. I was tired, but I think I was tired, I was jet lagged too, from traveling and everything like that. And got my second shot. And the thing that was so crazy, I mean, there's stations in America almost walking distance from wherever you live, and PCR tests everywhere. And it's all free. Everything is all free. The funny thing though, the PCR tests are very bizarre. Like, I did my first PCR test here to make sure I'm negative to fly back home. And when I went to go get my PCR test, within 72 hours to come back, I go to, they're open up everywhere. Like any type of little strip mall area, there's a PCR test in America. And I go in and they're like, okay, we'll do both tests. We'll do the quick one, the 15-minute test, and then the full PCR test. You get the results in 24 hours. They hand me the little swab thing, and they're like, okay, go for it. I go, what? They're like, you do it. I go, you want me to self-administer the PCR test? They're like, yeah. I'm like, what? I'm like, no, aren't you guys supposed to do it? They're like, no, we don't do that here.
Well, you put the thing up.
I gotta do it myself. Crazy.
Honestly. Anyway,
So
look,
bizarre.
we got 10 minutes before we close out. So again, the main topic of this conversation here is the elite visa.
Okay, sorry.
It's all right. No, we get sidetracked. This is what the program's all about. It's about guys just chatting. Now, we do this sort of chatting all the time when we're on the channel anyway, but not streaming to YouTube. This is what you do, is guys getting together, and you're allowed to have a difference of opinion. That's one of the things we love about the human race, is the way we grow as a human being is by having a difference of opinion and in some way finding information out that helps build on what you already know. And as I said, what I've done said before, talking with Christian about the elite visa, when me starting investigating the elite visa, and I had these hiccups thrown at me, and I'm going, well, it doesn't sound very elite to me, and I just now that I've changed provinces, it really has no bearing on the situation. I was just trying to find an easier way to deal with immigration. But I don't need to worry about the dealing with immigration. But, the other sort of side is, maybe I can put that million baht that I've got in the bank here to use, right? The question I would ask is, can I ring up their limousine service and get a lift to Susie's bar? That would be a question because I'm out here in Knock on Pine Tom. Would they drive this far out and pick me up to go to Susie's bar? I don't know.
I think if you just said, hey, I know Susie, they'd be like, oh shit, we'll be at your door in 10 minutes.
Yeah, well, because right now I got to use Grab, and the times I've used Grab to get a taxi from here down to Lak Song MRT, it usually takes the third guy that picks up the call before they get here. The guy, the first, well, this is the only, I've only done it once. The first guy called, where's your house? The freaking app has a GPS signal. Just follow the Jeep. How simple is that? No, he was off in the other direction. You know? And then the second guy picked up, oh, you're too far away. Well, why did you pick up the call to start with? The third guy was just down the road, and he finally got here 15 minutes later. But I'm watching him. They give you the position of the car on the app, and it's stacked out the front of his house for 10 minutes, probably while he put his underpants on. Because, you know, you can't go out in public without your underpants on here in Thailand, you know. And that's probably what he's doing. He's probably putting his underpants on for all I know. And he couldn't find a clean pair or something. I've got no idea. But no joke, the car didn't move for 10 minutes after he accepted the call, right? So anyway, this is what you have living out this far. So next week I'm still tossing up. If the weather looks good, I probably end up riding in, parking at Susie's place, right, and then going to the Emporium or something. I don't know what I'm going to do. You know, it's all good.
Oh, Susie's always got the back room.
Susie's got a spare room, and I'm pretty sure that there's nobody there. Then of course we can do some as I said to Jerry the other day, we can do some couch surfing. Jerry's got some nice couches in his condo, so if we do find ourselves stuck in, you know, because like you can't, there is a curfew. They've released the curfew. What is it? 11 o'clock, 11 to 4 now. Is it? I don't know. What's the curfew now?
It's 11 to 3 or 11 to 4? 11
till 3, I think it is now. So if you're out after 11, they can throw you in the clink. So, you know, I've got to make sure I've got to be, if I'm down there and I can't get home, or if somebody does ply me with some, you know, tequila shots and I don't feel like riding, then I'm going to have to, you know, I'm going to couch surf at Jerry's place, you know. Jerry, open your gate, I'm coming. But we'll work something out. But, you know, that's the thing, you know, that we are building, you know, as I said, getting back to the thing, we're building a community of like-minded people, and we're all mates, you know, and that's what I think's one of the wonderful things about it. And I think about a few people sort of query, you know, do you know this channel, you know that channel on YouTube? Well, I've seen them, but, you know, I'm very public. You know, I don't have a problem of being public on Facebook, Twitter, everywhere else. And it's the same person everywhere you go. You know, I've mentioned 1,000 times, just reach out. You're new to the channel, you know, you're new to the, you just reach out to me, you know. I'm not going to bite your damn head off. Well, you know, maybe.
Not yet.
Depends. You get the idea. It depends, but so I've got no beef with anybody, and I'm trying to do the one thing that the rest of the world is not doing, and that is opening myself up, being a public figure, to sort of say it's okay to be different. And as people know that follow this channel, I am different. You know, I am in a transgender relationship, have been for 13 years. Do you have to be in a transgender relationship to know me? Absolutely not. I still go to the bars and clubs and ogle over the pretty girls that you see there. I just, you know, I go out, I get an appetite, and I eat at home. You know, that's the way it works for me. And it happens to work for Chanya too. She is the only girl in my life, so it's all good. But I'm not averse to going out and having fun with boys. And we do have our little line group for organising that shit, which you will get invited to. You know, it's sort of, if you're in Bangkok or the Bangkok area, once we get to know that, you know, you're cool, then you'll get invited to that group too. You know, this is what we're doing. We're building a group of like-minded people, and everybody has something to offer. And that's where you guys come into it, and we want to make sure that everybody knows that stuff. As I said, the Discord's not my channel, it's our channel. You know, we've got different things, you can ask questions to different text channels, you just got to learn a little bit of this stuff. You know, we've got a special Patreon and member area where those Patreons and members have a private chat with me, because they are the elite group. You know, they're the special guys. Not special as in special, but special. You know, they're my mates. You know, they're the best mates. they're the ones that buy Chanya dresses, not me. Yeah, it works. Anyway, 3 minutes to go. Any other questions before we wrap things up? Go hopping. I have no idea who was allowed to go join it. Not very cool. Paul, stop that.
Yeah, come on, Paul, come over.
Jen Desperado, how's everything going? He's just popping in. We're just about wrapping it up, Jen. So, all the links are down below. Good to have you along. Always like to always try to recognise the new names coming to the channel. If I miss calling you out, sorry about that. I tend to do that from time to time. We will be running that subscriber-only mode on these live streams going forward, because guess what? I haven't seen that bot today. So it must work. No. There you go. Stephen's telling me to cue the song and get the fuck out of here. You know how it goes. The countdown, 5. Well, I got 1 more minute to go. Any other questions before you wrap it up? Remember the meetup last February? Go on.
Thanks to Chris.
Thanks,
I learned
Chris.
something new today. So yeah, been awesome chatting with you, and yeah, thanks for enlightening me. I'm a sponge, so if I get the chance to learn new stuff, I'll sink it in. So thank you very much.
Yeah, hit me up anytime, and thank you, Warren, for having me on. I really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun. I'm happy to always come back. Any random
You're
questions.
always welcome. Welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I appreciate
now,
it. But yeah,
next Saturday,
questions, I'm happy to help.
Next Saturday, there may be a delay, or we might have to cancel. I don't even know what's going to happen next Friday night. First night out in 6 months, in Thailand. I've got no idea what's going to happen. I'm going to try to get home for the stream, but I can't guarantee anything. That's a week away. Oh my God. Anyway, we're going to stick around.
It may just be me. It may just be me.
That's right. John D's asking, has your Discord channel been hijacked? No. As long as you've got a valid Discord account on the Discord system, that link should take you straight into the Discord thing. But sometimes the web page, depending on plugins on your web browser, that can have an effect. Download the app. They can't hijack the app. Download the app for your phone, download the app for your desktop computer system that you're using. You shouldn't have a problem getting on. As I said, today we've had 6 people join already in the group. We've got Sergio, he's been approved. We've got Kimbo's been approved. Matthew, he hasn't said anything yet, so he's probably trying to work it out. Walden, don't know what he's doing yet. Really, if they don't say anything, I don't know who they are. So they're just going to basically identify the fact that we're watching the stream, blah, 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 or I've been watching your channel for so long, love your channel, whatever, I hate your channel, doesn't really matter. I'm not too fussed about what your feelings are about the channel. Most people who hate the channel, they just think, well, let me get a fucking trepanning tool and think down to your level. Get the idea. So I don't really have a problem with anybody, but you're all welcome as long as you fall into that same boat as the fact that we want to build a community of people that help each other, because that's what we're not getting in society anymore. Every turn of society is trying to split us and tear us apart by your race, your colour, your particular preference of your imaginary friend in the sky. I don't give a damn about it. I might say things about it, but really doesn't bother me. I'm quite established in my philosophies, in my spirituality. Nothing affects me. If you come up to the front door and want to have a fisty fight, well, if you're smaller than me, maybe. If you're bigger than me, I might run away. Okay, I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy, Anyway, I'm going to cue this song and get the fuck out of here. Peace out, guys. We'll catch up with you very, very soon.
Awesome.
I want you to